Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated podcast where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime. I am Dylan Hysen, and today I am joined by Mel Moyer.
Hello.
Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
And Sam Quattro.
Hi.
Today, Mel, Delaney, Sam, and I will be discussing Zootopia, the latest Disney animated feature film released this weekend, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
You think?
Release dates, February 10th in Belgium. What? Why is that on the Wikipedia page? I guess it was released earlier internationally, but I don't know why Belgium is listed there. Anyway, we discuss various movies and animated movies and shows here at the Overly Animated Podcast. You can find out more about us at overlyanimated.com. Usually with less people on here, but this is a big animated release, so we have the whole crew here, or most of it.
Whole crew,
the whole crew. The whole squad is here. Yeah.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck to discuss Zootopia. Let's get into this. So basically, most obviously, if you know this podcast, most of the time we're going to spend discussing like the progressive elements of this film, which is like the entire film, right? But first, let's start with a general quality discussion. Let's go around the horn. Mel,
where did that saying come from? What is the horn?
I don't know. Mel, what are your general thoughts on Zootopia? Like or dislike, and some brief overviews.
I don't think it was worth a 99%.
Okay, yes. So getting this out of the way early, this film is at 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's try to ignore the, just personally,
Yeah, no, I think it was a familiar plot line. I mean, I'll give them credit for trying to mix it up a little bit, but if you look at the plot of the movie itself without the social overtones, it's like we've seen this before. It's a buddy Disney movie. It wasn't unenjoyable. I thought it was really funny, and all the animals are really cute. I enjoyed it.
Don't call them cute.
No,
you're
not allowed to.
The
That's
animals
racist,
are aesthetically pleasing.
So you would give this a fresh tomato as opposed to a rotten tomato?
I would give it if we're doing only fresh versus rotten, yes, I would give it a fresh tomato.
Delaney.
If it's pass-fail, it passes.
Yes. Delaney, what did you think of Zootopia?
I loved this movie. I thought it was great. The mystery, like some of the elements aren't like super unique, but I just really enjoyed the movie, and it was so pretty. And I've gotten to the point where it's like, I'm gonna see a Disney movie, and I'm either gonna love it, or I'm just gonna be like, I hate everyone who likes this movie, and I just hate everything. This is in the first group of, I thought this movie was fantastic. I've also been following this movie for a really long time. Like, I was waiting for this movie to come out. I was like, I'm gonna go see it. I'm really excited about it. So, and it exceeded all my expectations for it. I was not expecting it to be as good as it is, and it's just like the animation is just so great, and I think it does a few things that, like, I don't know, there's some surprising moments in the film that I just really enjoyed.
Nice. So very much a fresh tomato from Delaney.
Two fresh tomatoes.
Yeah, that's not how that works, but okay. Sam, what did you, fresh or rotten tomato on Zootopia?
Okay, I don't even like tomatoes, number one.
I had tomatoes as a side with my omelet this morning.
Tomatoes
We're
are
gonna
great.
rate this by apples because I
Okay,
like
how many apples out of 5 apples?
Out of 5? No, there's fresh and rotten apples.
Okay, fresh apple.
Like an apple or a worm apple?
Okay, apple, or does the apple have a worm or not? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
Oh my god, it was an okay movie. I agree with Mel's points that it's a plot that we've seen before, and definitely didn't feel unique, and definitely not worth a 99% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
It was a good movie. They were honestly, I'm surprised Disney produced it instead of DreamWorks, because it's a very DreamWorks.
It does feel like a DreamWorks movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not a bad way to spend an hour and a half.
I would agree. I'm
I
more
just like
towards
Sam's wow racism.
wow. Yeah, I'm more towards the
racism.
Sam and Mel side, I guess, than the Delaney side. I am also a fresh tomato. I enjoyed it. However, this movie is incredibly blunt.
Out of context.
This is like very similar to my opinions on Inside Out. Like, it's good, not great. It has great messages, but it's just way too blunt in how it delivers them, and it doesn't achieve any sort of like past the surface level storytelling for me. So enjoyable, but I would say nothing like incredible, although we'll get into that. And you see, we have 4 of us, and we all gave it a positive review. That's why this film is a 99%, not because it's incredible, just because everyone generally likes films like this, right? So that's not necessarily a measure of the quality. It's just like, will you like it? And this says with 99% certainty, probably, right? So, okay, Zootopia. I mean, I feel like I don't know. It's so
It
this.
sounds.
This movie's like, okay, this movie, the unique thing about this movie is how it's taking on of stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
The entire movie is like overcoming stereotypes. It's a allegory. It's a satire for our society.
Good allegory.
Within, probably closer to a satire, I guess, but within the context of this animal world where the animals have iPhones and predators.
She had a
prey.
literal iPhone.
She just had it. Yeah,
You know,
it was just.
they're just us. They just live our lives.
Where there's.
This is what dinosaurs should have.
They have
what
Uber.
dinosaurs should have done.
I don't think Good Dinosaur being in this location would have made it better. I don't.
Yes, but this is what I was looking for a little bit more than farming dinosaurs.
You were looking
Actually,
for-
no, that's a lie because it was literally dinosaurs as us.
You were looking for Shakira as a gazelle named Gazelle.
Oh my god,
No,
that
it's
was so
Gazelle.
ridiculous.
That was so great.
When has Secura been relevant other than like 2003 and 2006?
Here's always
FIFA.
relevant, Sam. Come on.
Shakira is always relevant. That is a
I
fact.
disagree, but
This time.
Why is her name Gazelle? No one else's name is their animal name.
Judy
Yeah,
Hopps.
Okay, but that's
Give
not
Judy
bunny.
Hopps.
That's not rabbit. Judy.
what if
Rabbit.
there was what if there was a human
Maybe that's her
singer
Stage
whose
name.
name's human?
Stage
She's just a gazelle.
Maybe in real life she's like Cindy.
Yeah. Kanan Gazelle is actually Cindy.
So let's start from this angle. So
You said Kanan?
Canon.
You meant Canon.
Oh.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Sounded like Kanan.
So let's start from this angle.
Don't
My
make fun of my accent.
one of my big points on Inside Out was basically like, this is like, people are going to find this like revolutionary, or the types of people who rarely think about their mental states. Like, this is like a movie about mental illness for people who rarely think about this. Do you think that Zootopia is a movie about like prejudice and stereotyping for people who aren't like social justice advocates?
No, because some of those are very stereotypical jokes. Like they were referencing things that people like know as stereotypes. Like when she was like the token bunny thing, and she's like, you can't like, oh, we can call each other cute, but you can't. Like that's things that people know a lot. I feel like that come up a lot. I don't think it scratches too deep below the surface than that.
So let's take this point. So I'm going to read a section of a review by Scott Renshaw in the Salt Lake City Weekly, one of the two negative
Oh,
reviews
God.
of this movie.
Shocking.
I read
Salt Lake City.
It's actually like a pretty, I think it's a very intelligent, like progressive themed review. He basically makes your point. So let's read this. Scott says, it's even more confusing when it starts to feel like Zootopia is working against its own message to get easy laughs. One extended sequence is set at the animal equivalent of the DMV, which is staffed entirely by slow-moving sloths. This is a decent enough idea until you realize that it's based on a stereotype. This kind of animal has one particular kind of character trait, and every one of them is the same. The same notion pops up when Judy takes advantage of the fact that all wolves start howling when they hear one howl. For a movie built entirely around don't judge an animal by its species, there's also plenty of a leopard can't change its spots.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't have defined rules for where it was going to draw the line on that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of in general with a lot of like this is just I think a lot of what we have problems with most Disney films, or actually storytelling in general, is that we will flesh out like 2 or 3 characters and then the rest of them are just whatever. And so in this case, they are just boiled down to their being animals. Like when we complain about this, and we're like, oh, there's the token gay character, and they're just there because they're gay. They don't have anything else to them. That's how the sloths and the wolves function. Though we did have that sloth at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, he was back. He was driving really fast.
That's why it's called Flash.
I should say, hold on.
They backed themselves into a corner though with that though, because it was like, oh, we've ruined the possibility of making jokes about the fact that certain animals behave certain ways in our world by making it within their world like a stereotype. So I feel like they just ignored it when they wanted to a little bit to make
Okay,
the jokes.
Yeah. I'm gonna say we're getting into spoilers now. I forgot to say this in the beginning.
Oh my god.
Spoilers
Well, I
for
think it's
Zootopia.
obvious that there's going to be spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, no, but sometimes when we do movie reviews, I have a spoiler-free section. So we can say, if you listen until now, that's fine. We didn't really spoil anything major. So just spoilers starting
That
out.
was a trailer scene.
Well, we said it's something
Yeah,
at the
it
end,
was.
but it was just like a joke that happened at the end. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there's this question, like, I mean, this is kind of I don't know if we should start with this, but the question is like, does the movie that's like super anti-stereotype just stereotype in its own movie? And the answer is, I think, is certainly yes. I think that clearly this movie indulges in some of the stereotypes that it's trying to work against. And it does, and I also think that it's kind of just making fun of its own message sometimes. Like one of my most problematic scenes, and there's that word, problematic. One of the most problematic. I'm the Tumblr guy in this podcast, so the most.
I'm the
Yep.
Tumblr guy.
Look at me. I'm
Speaking of
the
problematic,
Right.
me or the Tumblr?
Tumblr.
Oh, okay. So,
Tumblr.
so the scene in towards the beginning of the movie where Judy is talking to who's the lion guy?
The mayor.
Tenzin.
Not Tenzin. The other big cat. The receptionist.
Oh, the cheetah guy?
Cheetah. What's his? I don't know.
The chubby one.
Clawhauser.
Chubby
Clawhouse.
one.
Okay.
That's his name. Clawhauser.
Sure. So she's talking to him,
Yep.
and
The donut.
and he called the
guy.
donut guy, and he calls her cute, and she's like, a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when someone else does it, right? Like, it's like, what's the point of this line, right? So it that feels like they're making fun of the presence of like how the function of the N-word within our society, right? Like I felt like this was not a progressive line, that this was like a stereotypes are bad, but some people, like some people, right? Like it's like some people take this too far and are super silly, like those social justice warriors, like that felt like on that side of the spectrum for me, that line.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how Judy's character functions. Is that at every point she is one who is like, I mean, she's literally the affirmative action bunny in the police department, and she's fighting like prejudice on her own the entire film. But then she also, and then of course over the course of the film, she also was like, I'm not too good about this either, and so like I think that's like part of like the function of her character. Because like towards the end of the film, it's a bit different. Yeah,
well, certainly she has her own growing arc, which I appreciated. But and I'm not saying that this line, there's anything wrong taking this line at surface value. Like if in the mythology of the world you want to have bunnies, only bunnies can call bunnies cute, I'm absolutely fine with that, right? Like the problem is, it's the movie says it in a way that they're like making fun of it, clearly.
Oh yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke scene.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I like, and this is in the same light as a lot of other stereotypes being seen as jokes, right? Like the sloth thing. You could question whether this film has feminist problems too. The fox at one point is like, bunnies are emotional, and there's a bunny bad driver joke, right? Like they're making, and neither of those had to do with like her being a bunny, but they're like making jokes about stereotypes while also condemning stereotyping. So I don't know if I got like a super progressive feel from the movie at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think they ignored, in places where they wanted to ignore it, the kind of rules of the mythology of their world and like what the analog is for racism there. And it's like, well, you know, yeah, I mean, like they basically, because the funny thing in here is, say take away all the racism aspects and we're just watching a movie about animals as us. Like the funny thing here is how like they're acting as humans but they're still acting as animals, you know? Like that's like a joke people make a lot with anthropomorphic animals. So that's like the main humor you get from this kind of animation, and the point here was to take that and turn it into like, you know, their analog for racism, like stereotypes in the animal world. So you've lost like basically the point of making animals anthropomorphic, if that makes sense, like in terms of like culturally, like what we've seen in films and TV. So I don't know. I think they just kind of backed themselves into a corner and it ended up a little bit not great, Bob.
I mean, not great. I mean, I agree with that. Like that, it's a function of the narrative and the choices behind the basic premise of the film. But I don't really care too much. Like yes, the reason that we end up like having these, we're indulging in stereotypes at the same time as we're condemning them, is probably because of the premise of the film. But like that's just a choice they made. So like, given that, I still think that they're making a choice. Like you can work around this. I feel like if you really want to, but it doesn't seem like it seems like they actively want to make these types of jokes at some point.
It seems like, it's kind of like, okay, this is a Disney movie, okay, and they're like, okay, we want to talk about this, but we don't really want to talk about it. It's a kids movie. We have to like do this, this, and this to like, and also they're like, okay, we can have a line like this, but if we don't play it off as a joke, it's going to be bad. Like that's how they feel about it. It's not right, but that's what they're doing. Like I feel like it's like they wanted to make this movie, but they didn't want to make this movie 100%. So they just like kind of went at it at like a weird angle.
And you would blame like it being a Disney film. I don't necessarily buy that.
No, I don't see like a Disney film. Like it wouldn't matter who made this film. It would kind of end up like this because it's a topic that no one wants to talk about. And so we're going to come at it as a joke. So like, okay, we're being serious about this kind of, but we're going to laugh about it. So like, it's not that awkward. Ha 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 ha. Like that's what they're doing. This is literally how discussions about racism go, is because no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so it's kind of like they talk about it and then they hop off of it really quick.
Yeah.
So here's like one of the big criticisms, or from a progressive stance, is like the movie. I feel like this movie's viewpoint, or at least that's what I took away from it, is that it wants to condemn stereotyping and it wants people to be like open to overcoming like quote unquote natural roles. But I also feel like it like doesn't get past these natural roles for people. Like I feel like the movie, by indulging in stereotypes, doesn't really say everyone's the same. It just says, yeah, everyone is different, but we're like advanced enough that we can not treat ourselves as different. But I think the problematic part with that is that everybody is different. Yes, everyone is different, and we should embrace diversity, right? But the thing is, like, it's like everyone is not necessarily. It's like she doesn't necessarily. Okay, here's a related point. If you want to go in this direction, one of the biggest problematic aspects, there's a problematic again, of this film is that the aspect of predators and prey. So if you want to make this a satire for our world, it's very easy to see Mrs. Jenny Slate sheep at the end of the film.
Mrs. Jenny Slate.
Mrs. John Ralphio sister.
Oh my god.
In
Mona Lisa.
Yeah, Mona Lisa Saperstein.
Saperstein.
And at the end of the film, saying that it's like she's like the Republican politician, right? So she wants to create unrest among the majority and turn them against the minority in order to like gain power, right? So that's a very progressive view of how Republicans function in society, and my view as well. Like if you're
the Zodiac killer,
we were discussing Ted Cruz before this
presidential candidate.
If you disagree with that view, I'm not necessarily trying to preach here, right? I'm just saying I feel like that's if you're gonna. I do believe that, but I mean
that he's the Zodiac.
No, not that Ted Cruz. I do not believe
that
Ted Cruz was the Zodiac killer. I do believe that is how Republicans function. But if you don't, I'm not trying to preach
as Zodiac killers.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay.
But like, anyway. I feel like that's what the allegory is. It's the type of politician that turns the majority against the minority in order to gain the votes of the majority and gain power, right? So so let's extend that allegory, right? So then the prey are the white people, and the predators are the minorities. So the problem with this is that is the associations between civilized prey and like predator minority, savage. They use the word savages in the movie.
A lot.
So I feel like, and I don't necessarily think that the movie has any surface level intention of saying anything like this, but the problem is if you're using this as I don't know if allegory is the right word. Like if you're using this as a parallel, because to me it clearly is watching the film, and it could just be my perspective. But like then you end up with the notion that yes, the minorities are predators, but they're capable of acting living among the prey, even though their natural instinct would be to eat them, right? So that's super disturbing if you look at it that from that perspective.
Well, they do. I mean, it's funny though, like in the movie how it functions, because there is that one part in the film where she's like, "Oh, it's a biological component," which is like, "Oh my God, okay, we're talking about eugenics in this kids movie. Wow."
Yeah.
But then it turns out that no, it's just the sheep like doing this to people.
Right. So it does reject it. It's to a certain extent it rejects this notion, but
That
like
gay
they're still
sheep.
predators.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
not like they're just two
Thanks,
different.
Sam.
It's not like they're
No
just two
problem,
different
Mel.
types of people. There's still predators and there's prey, right? Like it doesn't escape this. Like I feel like that's a big problem with this message.
Well, I think I don't necessarily. For me, I don't think it's so much as the problem with the messages. It's a problem with the characterization of the entire film, because it's like they're like, okay, have animals. What are we gonna do with them? We have to create this conflict. What are we gonna do? Like we can't
Okay,
just do
again,
like
yeah,
elephants versus monkeys. We have to.
I understand that it's the framing of the way
I
that
didn't
they
see
built
any
up the
monkeys.
purpose of the. Were there monkeys? I don't know.
There weren't monkeys.
No, there weren't any
No.
sapiens.
That's because it's like, how would you explain humans not walking around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No
let's
monkeys,
get
no
into
people.
our crazy. After we get into this,
Were there bugs at all?
after we
in
get
this
past
world?
this
I don't think
progressive
so.
discussion,
No, it's
shall-
literally just mammals. Like they say that it's just mammals.
in which
Oh.
I've alienated half the audience, then we will get to our crazy theorizers and where are the humans, right? So that's what we get
Alienated
to later.
the
All
Zodiac killers.
no one's so now all Republicans are Zodiac killers. That's
Maybe.
your-
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously this is just a very like surface level, shallow way to approach the topic.
My point to Delaney would be like, don't excuse this with like the film's premise because they made the premise.
Yeah, no,
So
I mean, it's not an excuse, but they do. I mean, the thing is, the film makes an effort to be like, LOL, they're not like they didn't actually go savage. Like it's this sheep that made it happen.
They were on meth.
Do you think that
Yeah.
Mel, do you think that that's like this is like something I can
Yes.
criticize the film for, or this is just my interpretation?
I mean, it depends on whether or not the film is reacting to what it's doing, if that makes sense, like it's aware of it. So your criticism is like the premise of the biological component and saying like in the use of the word savage and predator and prey and the like is that like what you're
Well, so here, I guess it's more of a problem with the premise. So here's the problem: you have a film about diversity and not stereotyping and inclusion, and yet you make the different types of people in the film to be like a predator-prey relationship as opposed to an equal relationship. Like it makes the parallels to our society very messy.
yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that, but I also like I mean, the point of the tension is like that this is the way their world functions, and it's not really a direct parallel. I'd say it's closer to an allegory because it's like.
So, do you think it's like unfair of me to make it a direct parallel?
I mean, no. If that's how you're reading it, I think I would consider it more of an allegory because things weren't completely parallel. I mean, when I look at something like this, an allegory is basically saying something. It's an allegory in the sense, the reason it's an allegory and not a parallel situation is because it has a moral, and that's the point of allegories, is that you reach a moral by creating a extended metaphor. So in that sense, it is an allegory.
So like we can transfer the message, but we shouldn't equate the foundation.
Yeah, it's not a perfect, yeah.
I do think that's what the film is trying to
it's
do.
It's like transferring it instead of making a mirror image.
Transferring, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So, like Delaney said, they kind of overcome the premise to a certain extent with their message, right? So, I think that the way to look at it would be as an allegory and not a direct parallel. I agree.
Yeah.
That being said, that
I think the parallel. Like the parallel part, I think it's just more of the visual aspect, like of how they live, and like they have iPhones and like city, and it's more of like getting comfortable with the allegory.
Good point. Good point. I'm justified in my.
Oh my god.
My
no, I'm not.
No, that's what Delaney's saying. Delaney's saying I'm justified.
No. I know what I'm saying is like the parallel is in the visual, but like in the actual message and like what's actually going on in the film is the allegory.
It's not my
like,
fault that I'm drawing a parallel when they use iPhones in the movie. Like, come on.
Well, it's the visual. It's the visual, like becoming comfortable with the allegory, because like we've all seen like films where there aren't people and they're just animals.
How do the animals with hooves use iPhones?
That's with
Did we? I mean, how does the bunny
We've
use?
seen a goat. There was a goat with an iPhone. He was fine.
Anyway, back to like this year's discussion.
I do feel like the movie encourages parallels between humans when it anthropomorphizes the animals to such an extent. That would be the counterpoint.
On a case by case basis, I think you can say, yeah, this is a parallel and that's a parallel. Overall, I would say it's meant to be read as an allegory, not as a direct
I do
parallel,
agree that it's what's meant to.
Which is why a lot of it doesn't completely match up. I mean, you've only basically the way it sets up is if you've got, I mean, I suppose it does in the sense like you've got one majority and one minority, but it's not as diverse as our world, I feel like, even with the different types of predators.
Well,
An otter is not a predator. I just want to point that out.
Otters are predators, aren't they? Because they eat like fish and stuff.
Well, everybody's a predator to somebody.
Yeah, they do eat fish.
They eat like.
Well, no, that's the thing is like bunnies. It's honestly like carnivores versus herbivores. Like,
do they like? Is that like true
don't...
about all the prey that we saw? Are they all herbivores?
I think for the most part, it's me recalling all.
Yeah, not that
I
can't think of any eaters.
Eaten by.
Well, that's literally the definition of predator versus prey. Like predator feeds on other animals, prey don't.
The movie simplifies it because some things are like predators to some things, but prey to others, right? So it's a simplification.
Yeah.
So you're right. A more appropriate label would be carnivores and herbivores. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah, I don't know. That bothered me a little bit, honestly, as I was watching. So that's not just like I'm picking problems with the progressive message. That did honestly bother me as I was watching. So let's talk about the positives of the message, right? Because instead of me just ranting about things that no one else thinks about. So not to give myself that much credit, I just think that.
Oh, okay.
That's a negative statement, not a positive one.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore, Dylan.
Well, I have an issue with my issue is with the term savage if it's indeed a parallel. That's the problem.
Pocahontas all over
right, so we get past the
Yeah.
savage parallel by saying that it's not a parallel. It's just a transfer of the moral, not.
Well, at least in the film, they're not actually savage. It was literally they just made it happen. This isn't actually happening. Like, it's not real. It's not.
Do you think
true.
that there's problem with like civilized versus savage in that regard?
Well, certainly because there's so much like white hero complex wrapped up in being civilized, and it's like in white man's burden. Like that's literally all that's wrapped up in. So that it's very Disney has a history of doing this. Like there are many films where we have like. It's honestly kind of funny that we have now Disney now is doing a film about this when we can go and watch older films that Disney has made. Because Disney's very much, of the times.
Yeah,
I do think you could definitely draw race problems with this movie. This is a problem about racism and prejudice with two white leads voicing the main characters, written by white people, directed by white people. Yeah. This is something we should certainly talk about. Like,
well, I would say, despite the white voice actor, like Judy is presented as a non-white character throughout the film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not good with this type of thing, but like.
Well, I mean, she's literally like she's the affirmative action bunny.
Like codifying as like a race, right? Yeah. No, she is the affirmative action bunny, right?
Like that's the thing, and like in her
affirmative action refers to more than just race as well.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But it's just like, and when we're talking about like the way she interacts
Tumblr
with
inserts
other
white women are the most beneficiaries of affirmative action, right? So okay, yes, continue.
But like the way she interacts with characters, like. You can argue that Judy is not presented in the film as white.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like people, it's easy to ignore the voice actors, but that's a major component. Like,
yeah, no, it's hard.
That's probably the biggest component in terms of codifying race in animated
anime film
characters. Yeah. No, like I think that's like why isn't Judy voiced by a black woman, right? Like I don't really understand.
Her boss is voiced by Idris Elba.
True, but
he's antagonistic.
So that's what I minor character. About it. He's not really a minor character. Like he's
great,
quite
Bob.
Are you offended that I called Idris Elba a minor character?
No, I'm
in anything.
Like, there. Yes, actually.
Well, his character in this is also antagonistic. Like that's not great.
I mean, he comes around.
His character's like a racist in the beginning. A bunny racist.
Yeah, a bunny racist. Yeah.
I'm glad that the word is bunny and not rabbit because bunny is so much cuter.
Yeah, Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's talk about how cute Judy is, the main character.
She's cute.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
She's like this.
Adorable.
She's like a foot tall, maybe.
What I love is like her like athletic outfit when she's going to the city.
She's got a little bulletproof vest too.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, no, her like police outfit's A+.
No, the cutest was when she
Who's shooting?
when she like went back home and she had like
her
like the button
part
down
out.
shirt or whatever.
The little guy before he he was still pretty cute, but when he was pretending to be Nick's son and he put on the elephant outfit,
Yeah.
it was adorable.
Nick
Wilde with an E at the end, so it's not quite.
Yeah.
It's not quite.
Oh, I was gonna say, why did if her voice didn't change between the first 10 minutes and like afterwards, I would have no idea that she grew up. Like, I feel like that's kind of bunny racist, but she looked the same.
What are you trying to say, Dylan?
She looked the
What are
same.
you trying to say about bunnies, Dylan?
It's because she's like a foot tall. Yeah, no, she was like even cuter when she was younger too, though.
Yeah.
Well, it was really funny. Like they made jokes about like how many siblings she had,
Yeah.
and they were like, how to multiply.
As she was leaving, it was like popular.
Oh yeah, he made a joke about that she's good at multiplying. Yeah.
No, she made the joke.
Someone made the joke.
Yeah, she did. She was like, "We're good at multiplying," and then that's the part where he's like,
"Oh, I didn't catch
the
that."
Guy that the guy you think is funny like busts out laughing, is like, "You got hustled," and like left. Because when she was like taxing.
Where's the other siblings? Why aren't they with mom and dad?
They are.
They're working on
They are with mom and dad.
Are they? I didn't see them.
They're in the field.
They were.
You know, it's the train station full of bunnies. That's all of her siblings.
Nope, didn't catch that. Okay.
There was a bunch of people at the train.
Dylan, did you watch the movie?
This movie just went over my head. Okay, it was very complicated, and I didn't understand.
Very deep.
Like this is like Mabel's sweater times 12. You didn't see any of.
Okay,
the
let's put this out there. I'm not going to tell you which of us, but several of us were watching on a cam version, which was not.
Excuse me.
I'm not going to say who it was, but there was some of
that is illegal,
who
sir.
didn't see it, so that's why I missed it. Okay, let's just make that.
That's not why you missed it, because
this end of the end.
As someone who has no idea
Are you implicating
how you
yourself?
watched it or how I watched it, I will say that I think you could visually make out the multitude of bunnies at the train station.
No, you're right. It was just the cop.
Oh my god,
it's a well-known fact that Dylan misses things.
Okay, let's talk about Nick. Jason Bateman Fox, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Zuko, Mako.
He's not Zuko because he has so much more personality. Let's be clear.
Mako.
He's Mako because he has
that Mako, like, to even more of an extent, right? So,
he's a detective.
What do we think of this?
No, but I like him.
God, he is a detective.
I don't like Mako at the end of Korra. There's a difference.
What do we think of the this character? He's like the jaded soul who's like sees the light and like everything's like not so bad, yay, right? That's
it's interesting though, because they present his character as someone where he actually at one point wanted to be something other than what he is, and they presented it as a situation. Like it's not like, and he really didn't have a choice. And I actually think that's one of the more compelling parts of this film because what irritates me about the film is like the song that's like try. It's like some people can try and they won't get anywhere because of how society is. And so what this movie does with Nick is that there's a situation that actually like limits him from like doing what he wants to do, and like it's about it's not really necessarily about your choices. It's like sometimes life throws you a certain way, and it's not your fault.
Yeah, no, I actually think he's pretty well characterized. I think this is the type of character that I hate, and he was pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you hate Jason Bateman, Sam?
I generally like Jason Bateman. I think I liked him in Juno.
Juno?
He was in Juno.
Who was he in Juno?
He was gross in Juno. He was a predator.
Oh, he was yeah. Okay, I remember.
He was also a predator.
He was the
dad.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
He was also.
J.K. Simmons was also in Juno.
Yes, he was.
We need to talk.
I just like Juno a lot. That's one of my favorite movies. When I was younger.
How would you compare Juno to
murdering someone?
They are incomparable because they're not the same at all.
Let's talk about
other than a few cast members.
This is just one of your ploys to gain more power.
Speaking of ploys, let's talk about this. I mean, not speaking of that. That was terrible. That wasn't clever because you were just alluding to the same thing I'm alluding to. So, J.K. Simmons, Mayor Lion, who finally gained his power, right, as Delaney said, and as mayor.
One of his ploys,
Yeah.
yes.
It was one of his
They
ploys.
succeeded. So, what do we think of J.K. Simmons, Mayor Lion?
I don't know. he was
I
just
like
there.
lions.
Uh,
Lions are my favorite animal.
is there any comparison between Steven Universe Lion and
No.
J.K. Simmons, Mayor?
Right over my head.
No.
Not at all.
You see, Mel, there's a lion in. Okay, no. It's
Dylan, not all
What?
lions are the same.
Oh,
I have
Yeah,
not,
right. I was
Tumblr
lion.
hasn't shown me
Yeah,
its
now
lion.
who's being racist?
I was lion stereotyping. You're right.
I'm gonna look up
So.
this lion in Steven Universe. Tumblr hasn't shown.
And the line in Steven Universe is a lot better than the J.K. Simmons line, but I don't really have a problem with the J.K. Simmons
I
line.
basically watch everything through Tumblr.
There's not really any.
There's no need for me to watch anything ever again.
There's.
Well, like with the mayor, it's like you don't like him because he's like mean to the sheep, but then at the end of the movie, you're like, well, the sheep wasn't
gay
nice
sheep.
either, and yeah, the gay sheep, and you're like, what? And then of course there's the scene in the lab. And you're like, oh my god, the mayor's terrible. But then he was just, and then they make a joke about it at the end too, where he's like, yeah, it was just the classic doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. Like they make a joke about it at the end. It's like, can you even hate the lion? Like
That's not even classic.
he knows what he's doing.
I've never heard of anybody ever doing that.
I mean, he was just like the stand-in political figure.
Yeah.
Some might say the Zodiac killer.
Well, let's talk
I mean,
about.
he was just a red herring. Like there wasn't anything to him.
Let's talk about gay sheep. Why do you think sheep is gay?
She was all over Judy.
All over.
Yeah.
Judy.
Yeah, but it was like it was
Constantly
fake
here.
though at the end.
Yeah, but like at the end,
No, but she really liked her though.
She was on her side.
Yeah, no, she was gonna like she
Hey,
wasn't gonna do anything to her at the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think that this was like this was the true love story of the film?
Yes.
And then her neighbors who are also in a homosexual relationship.
Yes. It's true.
The two dudes.
What were they? Were they wolves?
I don't even.
Are they like
I don't know.
antelopes?
They were really tall, whatever they were.
Oh, why is there like I understand why everybody is like bipedal in this universe, but like
Bipedal.
yeah, bipedal, whatever. Yeah, but like, why? Giraffes are like super
Well,
tall.
if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint,
No.
shut up.
No, that's
The
not.
fact that we started walking on two legs is the reason that we got so intelligent, because we were able
Oh.
to increase brain space essentially,
No.
because
Because all
our
of our
bodies were growing.
No
So,
realistic evolutionary timeline leads us to this film.
oh my god, shut up. So no, that's like an anthropological thing. Is like when humans stood up,
Yes.
that's when they began to become more intelligent, and that's why we're the only things as like with.
This is where I draw the line at overanalyzing this film, right?
My God.
No, but they stand
Why would
upright.
you
It
make
makes
that?
sense.
And not
They're
anything
upright,
earlier.
They're smart. They're all standing upright, so now they're smart.
You think that that's why they made that decision?
No, of course not. I'm saying this is what you could say though.
Okay.
Sam had a question I hadn't answered. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's the same answer.
Let's talk about this main friendship between Judy
Stop.
and Nick.
I thought they
So
were gonna
who
get together.
here ships it?
No,
No.
Let's go
No.
around the table. Mel, do you ship
No.
it?
no, no.
Sam, do you ship it?
No.
The abomination.
Delaney, do you ship it?
There's a post on Tumblr that sums up my feelings.
I'm gonna
It
go
says
look them up
Judy
right
is a
now.
lesbian and Nick is gay. That's
I'm
how I
gonna-
feel about this movie.
I'm gonna go look them up right now on Archive of Our Own.
No, Mel.
Here I go.
I was joking
do
because
it.
none of us ship straight ships, right? So
I was
obviously we're
actually
not going
in
to
the
ship.
tag, and there's a lot less romantic fan art than you think. I was actually.
Zootopia.
I saw a Tumblr
Also
post that
hiding.
was like
Relationships.
Tumblr usually.
Boom.
is
13
like,
fix.
Why are these people straight? Why is there straight romance? And then like Zootopia.
Why is-
Why
It's
isn't there?
posted
Why isn't there a
off
straight
because
romance?
I
Why isn't Judy
reblogged
and the
it.
sheep on the relationships in here? Who's not writing fan fiction?
Mel, it's your time is now.
Well, this movie just came out.
Wow. Well, ew. No. Why is it rated mature?
No.
Mel, do you want to
No.
tell us this headline you found that related?
No.
Oh wait, the one about in Portland
Yeah.
where 23 people were arrested. The furry.
Wait, no, we can't say
Zootopia?
that. Oh, okay, hold on. I thought that
You asked me. Now let's go through. Oh, there's one called Turning Savage.
I'm not
But
sure
don't worry,
which
it's
is-
rated G.
bleep out. But
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, you can just bleep out the word. Ah, I said it again.
yeah, that was the problem. I'll leave in the other one. because wishes are not shameful. That's
No strings attached.
what I'm here. That's
Oh
what this
boy.
is here. Yeah. So no, we're not shipping them. And do they say love? The word love at the end.
You can
No,
love your
like
friends.
it's you can. I say this.
I
with,
don't
like,
personally, but some people could.
Thanks, Mel.
I love
Appreciate it.
you.
Anyway.
And then
Um,
like they play, and of course the entire point of the film is that like a bunny and a fox can be friends, even though like
Yeah, but Delaney, they say the word love. So,
StarCraft.
we can be like the straights and be like, oh, they're such good friends,
Yeah.
animal pals.
They're such good
They're
friends.
There's not a
Fox
kiss. We can do this.
Yeah.
no. You're legitimizing it by saying that. It's not. The movie is not presenting.
Yeah, everyone knows that gal pals secretly means something else.
But they didn't hold hands, so it's
No,
okay.
the movie is really not presenting a romance. Okay.
They did
It's
hug.
not romance at all.
They hugged. Oh God.
Yeah, no, like I guess I've been like critical of the film so far, but like I think Judy's a solid character, Nick's a solid character, and their friendship is really good.
I really love the scene like under the bridge. Like it's so great.
Under the bridge.
It's such a good scene.
Oh, when he records on her stupid.
He's such a jerk.
Yeah.
I love the pin in the movie too. Like it's so
Oh.
silly.
Oh,
Can
okay.
I talk about how flimsy I thought that whole like conflict between them was?
Sure.
Because I thought it was really flimsy.
Sure.
There's a Cadbury.
Just elaborate.
Okay, so remember at the press conference when what's her face Judy is like the biological predisposition to being savage and eating things. And then Nick has just this like flash of him in a muzzle, and suddenly he's all like mad, like,
Yeah.
Judy thinks I'm gonna be that way. I don't know. I thought that was super like flimsy and not a good conflict to just have happen like an hour.
That
into the
honestly
movie.
confused me. Like the
mean-
flash of him in the muzzle. I was like, is it because they're muzzled? Does that make them savage? Like,
Foxes aren't even.
triggered.
Like-
Foxes
Well,
are
they-
not even predators.
Well,
Foxes
they
are
but
cats.
Well, it makes sense. Like that. I mean, that's the only way that conflict could have happened. And honestly, I was really impressed with the fox spray because I thought that was going to be the big blow up, but no, he knew the whole time.
Yeah, but I need pepper spray because I in real life I will get attacked by
Pepper.
foxes.
no.
I mean, I carry pepper spray,
I don't.
Um,
but the thing is that it's specifically fox
males.
spray.
Fox tasers.
so
Yeah, that is weird.
so the narrative. You all were talking about how it was like stereotypical, and yeah, I agree. But I feel like for me, like the biggest problem with the narrative of the film, it was not that it was bad. Like I feel like the Inside Out narrative in between, like the getting back to the place, like I feel like that's like worse than this narrative. But the problem is that this one would move so fast. Like everything just happened fast in this film, and especially
I felt the opposite.
especially
I
in the
didn't think it went so
middle.
fast.
Like I think at the end, once we got to the end, we slowed down, but everything just happened very quickly for me.
Mhm.
I felt more like I
Well,
don't
it
know,
had to
didn't
happen
seem like
fast. She had
it was so
48
fast.
hours.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I don't think it like I didn't feel fast. There were several moments in the movie where I was like, okay, the movie's over, right? Like there were several
Hyenas
points where I was
are
like, the
actually
movie's over,
cats.
but they kept going and it wasn't over. I don't know. I felt more like
Fascinating.
the film felt longer to me than like it actually was.
I mean, yeah, that's not really what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to say, like,
No, it's total.
I didn't-
Actually, I have it right in front of me.
I didn't like attach to anything that was.
You know what I'm
happening
about to say.
Like the mystery plot line was like very surface level because we didn't
You know the
spend more
next
than 2
words
seconds.
coming out of my
on it.
mouth.
Oh, is it a hero's journey?
You can try to delay them. Well, this is kind of like what I said about finding. Shut up. Oh no, it's not you. It's this ad. I thought you were talking over me.
Yeah, none of us were talking. And you said,
Wow. Shut up.
Dude,
This
shut up.
ad.
You're gonna think you're insane.
which one of us did you think was talking with the
I
ad?
thought it was you because it was a dude's voice.
Oh.
So this goes back to like what I was saying on the Finding Nemo thing, where you've got this thing that people ignore in the hero's journey cycle, where you actually
There it is.
get
Ding.
like shut up, you get your stuff on like the 5th step from the end. Like it's the reward step, and you get what you wanted, but the return is still like part of the story, if that makes sense. So like, you take the story, they set out, their goal from the beginning was to find out the missing animals or find Mr. Otter. And they did. But now they have to do the road back, the resurrection, return with the elixir. They have to go through all the steps to complete their journey now that they've achieved their goal. But most stories nowadays will cut that out and just make the goal the end point.
Yep.
Well, it's because like when they solve the problem, the actual real problem.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing,
Figured
and
out.
that's what I was saying with Finding Nemo, because it's like we found Nemo, but then there's still some
So you think this movie
character
like
issues.
like subverted the typical thing?
No, it didn't subvert it. It just the thing about that is that it's a more character based way to go about the like monomyth cycle, because that's very based in like plot. So by doing this and saying, okay, we've achieved the goal, but that's not the end of the story, you're saying there's still character things that have to be solved there, which is why things like immediately blew up after like they found Mr. Otter and she was like biological component and Nick got sad.
So let's talk about our Judy, being problematic herself, right? So the P word, Nicholas P. Wilde, the P word. Why is his middle initial P?
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what it says on it.
That's
I thought it
why.
was E. I guess I missed it.
Nicholas P. Nick Wilde.
Wild.
you.
With an E at the end. Because,
Yeah.
we're not
He's not savage. It's like, yeah, exactly.
wild.
Yeah, so it's like it's what do we think of the main character not being just like a beacon of more a moral beacon. She doesn't escape this problem that she's like fighting for herself, and she has her own innate biases. Right. So, and I think it's well developed throughout the film. Because in the beginning presents us this Fox prejudice and then it comes back, right? And it's like even though she and that scene, I feel like one of the more progressive scenes of the film is that when their fight happens after the contrived muzzle thing, and then she's like, no, I don't think of you like that, and then he like reaches and he like fake attacks her, and then she like reaches for the fox spray, right? So it's like, and I feel like the movie was genuinely arguing that it doesn't matter that like a legitimate prejudice is like your innate prejudices, like how you instinctually react, and that's like it's like even though you're the most well-intentioned like anti-racist person, like at your base, just because of the way this society is, and that's not like her fault, it's how her parents raised her, right? And it's how just society presented it to her, she's still innately racist. Like I felt like the movie actually was trying to say that, and I kind of loved that, because there's so many white people that'll just be like, that's such crap, and you're idiots. Like
the whites.
Like I'm on, in terms of like views and intentions, I'm like completely anti-racist, but I'm not going to ever claim that I don't have any racism like at my base.
Internalized stuff.
Internalized, like, and just things that could come out instinctually just because I live in society. So, like, and that's how it works. And I like that's honestly like my favorite part of the movie in terms of progressive things, that scene. Like I really did think it was genuinely arguing that that's a legitimate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
The other thing I like about the movie too, though, is that it showed kind of like like their particular brand of racism or speciesism, prejudice happened to like it happened on both sides, which is I feel like good for the internalizing aspect. Obviously, it's very different in our world because of the way that society is structured, but here it's like this is internalized and anyone can have these prejudices against someone else.
Yeah, I think that's problematic if you look at it from a direct parallel perspective.
Yeah,
but,
no, it is. But
like
from what you're saying, it works well.
Do you think that relates to what I just said about the?
Well, it relates to what you said about the fact that like anyone can have internalized things. Like on that standpoint, I think it works well because it's like here's a character, the rabbit, the bunny, who has these prejudices against her. The fox does too, and they both show points where they like react on these prejudices that they think about each other. At the same time, though, that's not how racism works in.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with turning it into like predator versus prey, because then like any predator racism that you saw just feels icky to a certain extent if you're drawing a direct parallel to our world. Delaney, do you have a comment on this earlier that I cut off?
It was just about like like you were talking about the scene in itself, and that it's the fox spray that she's been carrying around the entire movie.
Yeah,
I assumed the big blow up was going to be Nick finding the fox spray. No, he knows about it the entire time. And I think that's like very powerful, and like this message that's going on is that like he like was putting up with it regardless until she said something that was so abhorrent that he finally had to be like, no.
Yeah, you're right. There's like
component.
He's like aware of like her innate racism the entire time, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's kind of the whole. It's like, oh, I'm friends with so and so. I'm not racist. And it's like she's carrying around fox
exactly,
spray.
And it's like, and the fox spray, the carrying around fox spray is symbolic of the innate racism. That it's like it doesn't matter if it's the nicest like white friend, right? Like it's still there's still gonna be innate
white
racism.
friend TM.
White friend TM.
White friend TM. I like it.
It's like that person's still thinking of that makes me like the movie a lot more, analyzing the scene.
The fox spray to me is like the most like subtle and one of the most like clever things I've like seen in a film like this. Like
she's not speciesist. She has a fox friend.
Yeah, right, I mean, exactly. I think that I still stand by my previous stuff, but this kind of overrules a lot of them. Like this is more important. Like this is a movie that made by white people, voiced by white people, major roles that like treats like innate racism by whites like as a genuine, like legitimate thing. Because just 95% of white people you'll see like would not acknowledge that that's a thing, because far be it from them to like criticize themselves or admit to any like society problems, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Just the allegory of fox spray equals internalized innate racism. That's pretty awesome. What have we not talked about? Talked about Gazelle. I know that.
Yeah, we talked about Shakira.
I mean, were there any like progressive? I mean, we can.
She got like top billing if you look up this movie.
Yeah, she did.
It doesn't make sense.
Jennifer Goodwin.
No, Shakira.
Shakira, she did not get top billing. What do you
Shakira, she got higher billing than she needed to.
I mean, she was like in the beginning of the film, I guess, right? Or when she gets.
She was at the end.
When she gets to the city, she's there at the end. Yeah.
She's at a.
Well, they had what was interesting. Like they had like the protest rally thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
What's the protest rally
thing? Saw that. Like that was like it was Gazelle was at the rally, and like it was like we shouldn't
at the end.
Like, in the beginning. The actual rally, not the dance party that happened at the end of the movie.
I don't remember this.
It's right after like the biological component speech, like the city tearing itself apart, and they're having a rally, and Gazelle's like, "I just want like my city back."
Oh yeah,
it's
no, that's not
like,
in the beginning. That's in the middle. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
That's what I said. Okay.
Why do wolves howl? Like
in life.
Both.
I what?
Okay, so
communication.
Are you? Yeah. So Shakira has more of a role than we would think, right?
Shakira.
Well, I was just saying that. I was just saying in particular, like that scene was really interesting, and like especially given like current climate, seeing a protest in like a film for children is fantastic.
Okay, let's briefly mention this. This film is about police officers, right?
Yes.
And we don't really get into systematic like prejudice in our justice system and stuff. Nothing like that. The movie gets into. Does that subvert, like that's the biggest like current issue race thing, right? So does that subvert the movie's race message that we just completely ignore that all the police officers, where it's like all the police officers are good, right? And there's no problems here.
Well, I mean, all the police officers aren't good. Like Judy faces discrimination from her boss.
True, but that's not like.
No, it's not the point. I honestly think they just did the cop thing, this is a weakness of the movie, is that they just did the cop thing so she could solve a crime, like so she could solve a mystery, which I don't really understand why they felt the need to do that. Like you can just have like Scooby-Doo nonsense going on.
Does her discovering her own prejudice and her being a cop, like, does that get us anywhere?
I feel like I would have liked to have seen more pushing on that, considering where we are right now in society. The fact that she realized that the first thing she does is she sees the fox and she like reaches for her. Him. Yeah, she reaches for her fox spray and follows him. Like, are you kidding me? That's like total. If you want to take it by case parallel, that's a total parallel to what's going on today with cops. But they don't really broach that. Like, they broach it in the sense that, like, she's got some internalized racism, speciesism, what have you, but they don't broach it in the sense of like her acting on it. It's just the fact that she feels it and she feels bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's just like the one, like, it's like after it happens, she's like, wow, I'm a terrible person.
Which also, it sucks later too then, because he actually was doing something shifty. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you've ruined the point of the fact that she was like judging him by making it exactly what she thought it was.
Yeah, the fox in the beginning is another example of the confirming the playing into the tropes that they're trying to subvert. Yeah, the races, the stereotypes, right?
Like, they play into some of them to subvert them later, but then like it takes a really long time to get to that point.
Yeah.
Like, the entire film is so obvious and blunt, which I know you guys have a problem with that. For me, when we're dealing with issues like this, I feel like we need to be blunt, especially since we literally don't talk about it. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they just take long to get to the point.
I can appreciate that on like a it affecting a wide audience level, but in terms of how I'm going to react to it, right? Like, I'm just a film that's more subtle. I'm obviously going to enjoy more because it'll be more whatever, that goes along with being subtle. Just it doesn't have the problems of this being this over. But I do appreciate the effect that hopefully this has on society, as I did with Inside Out. Okay, let's do it in lieu of like rating. I thought let's do a round of like a better or worse than another animated film. Maybe we'll do a few.
What's the Minions?
No, not Minions. Obviously, this is better. Okay, like
Wait a minute. When are we watching the Bee Movie?
oh my god.
Yeah.
Ignoring that.
Someday.
Wreck-It Ralph. Is this movie better or worse than Wreck-It Ralph?
Oh, why are you doing this to me?
I was actually not a big fan of Wreck-It Ralph.
So you
I love Wreck-It Ralph. Oh, this is gonna hurt me. I don't know. This is hard.
So you think this is better, Mel?
I'm gonna say it's better, yeah.
Delaney, decide.
Oh, because of like the message is more important, and like I think they do it a little bit better. I think this is better than Wreck-It Ralph. But you hurt me.
Sam?
I don't know. I was thinking about Wreck-It Ralph.
This is by
during this.
one of the
I know it's-
co-directors of this is by.
I don't know, because I like video games, but I also like animals.
Okay. The quality of the film.
Hard.
I like Jenny Slate, but then I also like John C. Reilly.
I'm glad that Sam is having the same streak.
That's Sarah Silverman.
She's okay.
Wow, dude.
I don't know, dude.
She kind of bombed at the Oscars, though. I will say that.
I didn't watch the Oscars.
Yeah, that was kind of.
I think I like Wreck-It Ralph more.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Wreck-It Ralph, and I'm a small fan of this movie, so I like Wreck-It Ralph a lot more. Frozen, better or worse? Sam?
Oh, I don't know. I smell like breathing.
I honestly don't care.
So, Mel, what do you think? Frozen better?
I'm gonna say Frozen better, just because even though it reverted a little bit back to that same like two pals go on a journey, it was at least a little bit more mold breaking than this.
Delaney?
This is better than Frozen.
Sam?
I feel like Frozen's better, to be honest.
Ayo.
And I'm a big fan of Frozen, so I think this
Nope.
is. I think Frozen is. I think
felt
Frozen is
more.
much better than this.
Aha.
Also, what's another?
I'll say the ending to Frozen I think is better than the ending to this film, but I think the overall journey, the journey in this film is better than the journey in Frozen.
I could buy the meat of this film being better, but Frozen hits higher highs, which is obviously a big deal for me. What other Disney list of Walt Disney Animation Studio films? Let's.
Well, if that's what we're doing,
Yeah.
then
Um,
Sleeping Beauty, better, worse?
I don't even remember the last time I saw Sleeping Beauty.
Tangled.
I'm also not a big fan of Tangled either.
So
I will
Not a
say,
fan.
okay, I'm gonna say this over Tangled because Tangled is so like, I find Tangled really boring in the middle.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Delaney.
I'm gonna go with this.
This is better than Tangled.
Sam.
This is better than Tangled, yeah.
I think Tangled is much better than this. I'm a big fan of Tangled as well. Bolt. Have
Never
you
seen
all
a thing.
seen Bolt?
I've not seen
I've never seen
I've
it.
seen part of Bolt.
Wow,
I haven't
that's
seen all
so
of
helpful.
Bolt.
No, I really like Bolt.
Isn't John Travolta
I don't.
Bolt?
No,
The Miley
probably.
Cyrus
Is
Disney
he?
movie.
No, he is.
Is he Bolt?
Is
Oh,
he?
he is.
He's
Bolt.
100% bold. I
He
haven't
is
seen the movie and I know that.
Bolt is much better in this. IMO. Princess and the Frog. Have we all seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Yes, I do love
It's
that.
been a
movie.
while
This is
since I've
not
seen
better
the
than
movie.
Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, I agree, I think.
I also
Princess
like
and the
that.
Frog a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Big Hero 6. I haven't seen Big Hero 6.
I've never seen
This is better than Big Hero 6.
I think like this is better than Big Hero 6 because like Big Hero 6 doesn't actually do anything.
Big Hero 6 was the movie that nobody wanted to admit wasn't that good because they were so hyped about it.
Everyone's like, that guy that died. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like nobody wants to admit that it was just like an average film.
I have not seen it.
No,
So
like Big Hero 6 is like good to watch, but like it doesn't do anything the way Zootopia does.
It
like, there's
doesn't
nothing
do
in Big Hero
anything,
6.
period, and it's got
Yeah.
such a weird narrative like
It's
structure.
weird.
It's so strange. Like no, like we all and everyone just kind of like got quiet about it after it came out because they were all so hyped for it when it happened, and then it came out and it was like a movie, and they're like, oh, Big Hero 6 was so average.
And the next Disney film coming out later this year, how do you pronounce it? Moana, which was one of the bootlegged films.
I am so
Wait, is it released?
No,
No.
the joke was in the thing, like, calm down.
Oh, okay. No, I was
joke
excited.
was because he said, I've got some that
I thought
aren't-
this was like a what was that movie? Like
I don't even think it's done production yet.
No,
yeah,
it
no,
comes
it
out. It
doesn't-
comes out though.
No, he
oh
made
yeah,
the
yeah,
joke.
because
He was
the whatever was.
he was like, oh,
Weezy.
some that aren't even out yet, and then it was
Yeah.
the cover of Moana.
That's pretty good.
My favorite one is the Wrangled cover. It's so
Wrangled.
good.
High
It was really
expectations for Moana.
I'm gonna make an assumption
I'm so
about the
excited for Moana.
content and genre of all those films. BTW. Just saying.
The content and genre of all those films, BTW.
What does that
Wrangled.
even mean?
I don't know.
Jokes.
Yeah, I don't know
I
what that
get
means.
M rating,
Oh,
I get
why?
Mel.
Okay.
furry meeting.
I get
We'll
Mel.
call it a meeting.
Okay, yeah. You're right. Gigantic is listed on Wikipedia as a Disney film. I don't know what that is. Okay, anyway, that's enough.
Oh, I know Gigantic. I haven't seen it though.
I'm Dylan Hysen. That's Mel Moyer.
Oh,
Stovall,
we're
Sam
finished?
Quattro.
Done now.
I'm tired. I want to go to bed. And
Oh, okay.
you can
Little
find all of our
quiz.
social media links on overlyanimated.com, and you can check us out there. Give me feedback on this. Send me asks. Tell me why, how I screwed up, and what I said that was offensive. Bring it on. I know I probably said something bad. And
Did you see that one
I mean that
YouTube
genuinely,
comment that's
but-
like, Sam always sounds so pissed off at everything?
I was like,
Or
oh no, come on, but
I was like, but I am.
Sam, you
but a
watch
little
Broad
bit.
City, right?
I watch Broad City, yes I do.
Oh, good.
And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, and Rachel, aka Hey Now, Fever, Mitch, Cornell University, Beatrix, James, Buzz Like Your Mailman, and Rachel.
Holy
Uh,
crap.
check out
Feels the same now.
patreon.com/overlyanimated. You can hit play on me and Mill's video discussing why Patreon and
Oh, that's right. I was in that video. That was like 1,000,000 takes, so somebody
oh yeah,
watch
we
it.
did a lot of takes on that. Yeah, I should check how many views that has, how many people actually didn't play. But yeah, check us out talking about it.
I forgot y'all made that.
Support us, and
It took like 45 minutes for like a 3-second video.
It did, honestly. And that's it. Let us know what you thought. I think that we probably lived up to your expectations for discussing this
Very
movie
low
progressively.
expectations.
Yeah, no. There's many people that expect us to like approach these animated things in like from like a progressive standpoint that other people will not. So,
Okay.
I think we accomplished that here. Whether I was offensive or not, we will see. We'll see how many complaints I get. So thanks for listening, guys. And last comments.
Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer.
Really not
Furry.
related, but
Maybe. He might
I'm
be.
probably gonna go see Zootopia again.
nice thumbs up.
It was a movie that animals. Everybody likes them.
Everyone go type in loser.com.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't do that
Browser
because
of your
I'm
choosing.
assuming that would like crash my browser or something. So
No, it's
Why?
No. That's not.
No, it's not
trust
what it
me.
does.
it's
I'm not
going
doing
to.
it.
It's worth it.
It is going
It's
to
worth
direct you,
it.
Dylan, to a site that you've been to many times.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Sam, do it right now and react.
Okay, I'm doing it right
Live
now.
reaction to Sam.
Oh.
Right?
What did it send you to?
Don't tell him. He has to do
I'm
it.
not gonna tell
Did
you.
it crash
till
your
it-
browser?
No, it didn't.
Okay. fine.
Dylan,
Dylan's so afraid. Oh my god, it's gonna crash my browser. Like, it's fine, Dylan, if it crashes your browser, but it doesn't. So calm down.
Okay, that was
Oh, the
really
amount of money people
underwhelming.
have
I
this
thought that would
world.
like redirect like somehow know that like redirect me to my own Facebook page or
It would-
something.
Yeah.
That was really underwhelming. IMO.
You're really underwhelming.
Well, that's also true, but okay.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say earlier when you said something about cute, I was gonna be like, "You're cute," but
Aw.
I missed it.
Thanks, fam.
The window is closed.
Don't call me that.
Never say that to you guys,
Did you
right?
say fam?
I did
I
say
will
Yeah, he
walk
he
out of
said
here
fam.
Thanks,
now
fam.
if you start saying the phrase fam to me.
Thanks for listening, fam. We'll see you next time.
I
Bye.
Shut up.
Bye.
We lose all.
Bye.
Say
Bye.
bye. Okay.
Bye.